Hello and welcome to the Doof Book Club, our monthly live streamed discussion of a book chosen by you, our listeners. My name is Matt Freeman, and joining me as always, he's nothing but a gory pixie. It's Scott Daly. How are you doing, you red?
That's fucked up, man. That's real fucked up. Can't believe you did that to me. I don't know any insults for you in this world, so I guess I'll just die.
Yeah, I think that's here. Let me just there. Yeah, that's what
What
you
was
do
that?
when
Wait,
you're
please,
playing.
please do
I
that
was
again.
I stabbed you in the neck with this
Oh,
pen.
oh,
With
okay.
this pen, yeah,
How's
because
it
that's.
going,
I mean,
everyone? Wait, sorry, I interrupted you. Please continue
no,
with whatever
no.
comedy bit you were about to do there.
Just seems like that's what would happen in this book is somebody would get stabbed in the neck. So,
Okay. I mean,
well,
yeah,
yeah.
probably. How's it going, everyone? I see a lot of familiar faces, and by faces I mean names, in the chat. How are you all doing? We hope you're all having a wonderful Friday evening. I know we are. I'm feeling a little sick. I had a fever all day today. I think it's gone down now, so I think I got better just in time. But if I'm not up to snuff, I have an excuse. So apologies for that.
Well, you know what, Scott? That's okay because I've got a fever too. A fever for this book.
All right, I think we just shut it down, right? I
Okay,
think we're done.
that was it. Bye, everybody.
If you are joining us for the first time, or if you just stumbled upon us thanks to the YouTube algorithm, hello, hello, hello. We are Doof Media, and we make podcasts primarily all about the stories we love. We also arrange and organize this here monthly book club. Matt will now do the very important duty of explaining what a book club is. Matt, take it away.
Yeah, each month, Scott and I select 5 books from a pool submitted to us by our wonderful Doof community. We put up a poll for all the supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/doofmedia and let them vote on which they would like us to talk about. The book with the most votes wins, and then we all read it.
And then we meet here on what has turned out to be the first Friday of the month for quite a while now, instead of the last Friday of the month that is originally meant to be. And we talk about the book for a couple of hours. An hour. Probably just an hour this time because I'm sick. So Matt, what actually before sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit. Before we get into the book for this month, we do also have to decide, or at least help decide, our book for next month. So as Matt mentioned, our patrons spent the last week voting amongst these 5 choices, but we allow you folks that attend live to also vote amongst these 5 choices. So I've just sent a link to a straw poll in the chat over here, and so you can head over there and pick 2 of the 5 available choices. Those votes will be added to the votes from our Patreon at the end of the night, and that's how we will decide what book we're going to be covering. I will say, just to let you folks know what you're up against, King Sorrow, the new Joe Hill book, took a absolutely ridiculous lead, and it's going to be hard to chase it. So if you really don't want to do that book, if you really don't want to do it, you've got some work to do over the next hour or so.
That's right.
All right, Matt, let's get into it. I see John has not gotten the daycare plague yet this fall. I'm jealous. I've gotten it like twice. I think they announced hand, foot, and mouth in my daughter's classroom last week, and I was like, shit.
Yeah, that's not my favorite one. No. We all had that at one point.
Faithful Place is fantastic. Thank you, John.
Yeah,
I agree. All of Tana French is fantastic, and at one point, before this book club comes to an end, we will have read every single Tana French book. That's my goal.
Yes,
that's my quest. And
certainly,
you can help to make that happen. All right, Matt, let's get into this month's book. What do the people want us to talk about this month?
The book that was selected this month was Red Rising by Pierce Brown. And it's a pretty long summary, so I'm going to read like the first paragraph.
Why don't you just wing it? Just summarize it in your own words.
Yeah, so it's a really excellent YA novel.
Is that it?
We've got our main character, Darrow. He's a red. He's a member of the low caste in their color-based society, and he lives under the ground on Mars, and he's horrified to learn that he's even more oppressed than he realizes he is. And then in rapid order, he is physically transformed into being physically indistinguishable from a gold. And then he has to infiltrate the golds and fight in their tournament, and it's awesome. Oh, and his wife dies, and he's really sad about that. Did I do a good job?
You did such a good job. I'm so proud of you. Everyone give Matt a wonderful round of applause. Much better than the Goodreads summary that I pulled down. That is like 4 paragraphs long. It's like they need quicker summaries for these books.
Yeah.
That's my comment to you, Goodreads.
Right. You just want to hook me, right? Like,
Yeah.
just hook me. Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like you liked this book, Matt. That's the vibe I'm getting from you.
I really enjoyed this book. So yeah, I'll just while everybody else give your thoughts, and I'm going to give my overall first impression review right now, which is I had no knowledge or expectations about this book. I started reading it. I somewhat rolled my eyes, thinking, "Oh, this is like going to be boilerplate YA stuff where I'm going to know everything that's going to happen in advance because all the tropes are so obvious." And then within like 50 pages, probably, I was just like totally into it and invested. And then it just proceeded to be extremely fun and well paced and propulsive and good with managing a bunch of characters that you care about, even though they're all kind of assholes, and managing stakes and escalating things in a way where by the end, it's one of those books where it took me a few days to kind of get started, and then I think I read the last 80% in like 2 days.
Yeah.
So that was my overall experience. I really had fun with this one. I don't know that it's like the highest work of literature of all time, but it's not trying to be. It's trying to be a really gory, entertaining book. So, what did you think, Scott?
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I think, yeah, I came into it with a little bit of expectations. I knew it was popular, but I also had my sister in my ear who read this book and did not care for it. And I had heard kind of about the tropiness of it. And I think this is like, in my mind, one of the perfect examples of how I just kind of like bristle a little bit when I hear people on the internet, especially, like start talking about tropes with just this like assumption that like, if you use a story that has tropes in it, it's bad. You're bad. And we track and monitor tropes as if they're the end all be all of storytelling. Because I think this is a story that like hits almost every single familiar beat of like what a YA novel of this period would be. But to your point, it does it so well. Like, nothing in this book really surprised me. I mean, that's not entirely true. There were still like moments, like there's moments and reveals in this book that I went, oh, huh, that's neat. But like the overall direction of it, like it was not like hugely surprising because it's operating in a well trodden world, and yet it was just engaging and fun, and the characters were delightful, and I like. It's funny where you both know where it's going and don't know where it's going. Like, I really didn't think that the majority of the book was going to be this Hunger Games-esque like competition between the houses. And I was very surprised that I think we were like halfway through that, and I was like, I think this is going to go all the way to the end of the book. I didn't realize it was doing that. So I don't know. Yeah, I just like very tropey, very filled with recognizable characters and events and ideas and concepts, but executing on them very, very well to the point where I really enjoyed my time with this one. I did.
Yeah, me too. John makes a joke comparing it to Ender's Game. So I think this is a good time for me to just briefly interject with my prop that I'm way too excited about. Just prepare yourselves to not be nearly as excited as I am about this.
Talking about this for days.
Okay, you see these books that I have right here?
Uh-huh.
These are the Starfleet Academy books. I read them when I was a kid. They're not very long. I read more than these two, I think, but these are the only two that I still have after 40 years. They're like 100 pages. Okay, this one is titled Starfleet Academy #4, Capture the Flag. And the story is Geordi LaForge is a young Academy student, and he's a nerd because he's Geordi.
Uh-huh.
So of course he's a nerd. And the thing that Starfleet Academy PE teacher does is they say, all right, we're going to put you all on a planet and we're going to put you in teams and you're going to play capture the flag against each other. And the main bad guy, who is like, a arrogant, douchebag, he's going to be the captain of the Golds in this capture the flag game on this planet where we're monitoring your performance. And then, of course, Geordi is the team captain, not of the Reds. It's not that clean cut. He's the team captain of the Greens, which are sort of the misfit team. But of course, the misfit team contains all the aliens with like interesting powers. And he kind of, with the power of teamwork, they're able to win. And also, he's Geordi, and his visor is basically a superpower, and no one appreciates that. So, am I saying that this author stole the idea from Starfleet Academy #4, Capture the Flag? Yes, I am. But I think that's a good thing because I really enjoyed that book when I was a kid. And as I was reading this book that we're talking about today, I was like, oh my God, this reminds me of that book I really liked when I was a kid. And I was so happy. So that I know no one cares about anything I just said, but that made me very happy.
I care, Matt. That was excellent.
Yeah,
and I obviously haven't read those. I also have not read Ender's Game. One day I'll get around to reading Ender's Game, so I could not see the connection to that. But even not reading Ender's Game, I generally know the story of that, and like it feels like there's a lot of connections to everything in this. This is an amalgamation of a lot of different stories of this ilk.
Yeah, right. I mean, just you might have seen this discussion earlier. Someone in the Discord mentioned that there's a point where Darrow says, I don't know if it's Darrow who says it or somebody else says it, but he's like, oh, so you're trying to find a Wiggin? And of course, Ender Wiggin is the character in Ender's Game. And which Ender's Game is like, it's a battle school where they're pitting the kids against each other.
Yeah.
It's really, yeah, there are similarities, and yeah, it's fun for a lot of the same reasons, but this book is doing its own thing.
Did they fly up to where the proctors of the battle school are hanging out and murder them all in Ender's Game?
Not really, no, but there. I will say no more on this because I want you to read Ender's Game.
I'll get around. Like the thing is, like through osmosis, I kind of know almost the entire story of Ender's Game. Yeah. Despite never having actually read it, or I don't think even watched any of the movies. And yet I just feel like I know so much of the story. I really like the setup of the Hunger Games game, the Capture the Flag game. I think is really great, and it of course like uses the idea of the Greek and Roman pantheon in a fun way that makes me the 40-year-old nerd about Greek and Roman gods just like super happy. The idea that there are these people fighting this war and they have these gods watching from on high on Olympus. I'm just like, am I reading the Iliad? Is this the Iliad? Like, yeah. I had a lot of fun with that, and I think Pierce Brown is definitely channeling. Like, he's throwing so much into this thing, right? Like, it's just like, yeah. And it's like, I bet I can make like one of the most entertaining books ever if I just like throw shit throw ideas at the book constantly, and as long as they make sense within the world of the book, it works.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved all that. I love. There's a lot of fun ideas in this book. That was kind of what I didn't expect. Is like, this society that works on this principle of nominally it's a principle of meritocracy, but then it's just full of corruption.
Yeah.
And then you've got this character Darrow, who's this really actually very interesting character. I think more complex than your average, YA protagonist, where
yes,
he does like. On the one hand, he is like, a super genius who's strong and brave and cool and awesome and says just the right thing all the time. But also he does have this streak of like pride.
Yeah.
That is very gold, if you will. Like so I have this, I haven't read any of the later books. I have no idea what happens in the later books. I kind of want to. Mm-hmm. I found myself while reading this book thinking like, I hope the direction that this goes in is that Darrow becomes a more and more successful gold and always has a story that he tells himself where he's like, well, I can't I can't start the revolution now because I almost have the position that I really want, which is the next position,
Yeah.
which is a little bit more power than I have now. And if I had a little bit more power than I had now, then I could really win this revolution. Um, and have it be kind of a parable about how people enter into systems intending to change them and then becoming basically a creature of that system. Because that's like a thing the book never quite says, but comes close to saying a few times, is that Darrow is the perfect gold. He's he's crafty, he's ruthless, he's cunning, but also he understands people, he understands psychology.
Yeah.
He uses empathy, but he uses it as a tool, but also he actually genuinely feels for his men, and he does stuff that none of these other sort of arrogant hereditary golds would do, like let himself be whipped, which turns out to be the thing that like wins him the army.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was just like, wow, this is great. Like this is actually really good psychology. I had a lot
Yeah.
of fun with that.
I mean, he represents perfectly like the ideal that these people claim to represent, but of course they're,
Mhm.
as you said, corrupted and destroyed. And that is really interesting because yeah, I mean, like the second I realized we were doing a thing where he was like going undercover, I was like, oh, we're doing the plot line where he's gonna like, first of all, he's gonna fall in love with the gold. Like I knew that was gonna happen. I don't know if I like predicted it was Mustang from the first moment we saw her, but like as soon as she's in the school, I'm like, okay, yep, here we go. Um, and like he's gonna get in too deep, and he's gonna start like identifying with these people, and like that's the most obvious place to go with this. But to your point, I think the way it's done is really interesting because like it's we see we see the way in which he fits in this society rather perfectly. So it's not as if Darrow is losing himself. It's Darrow is kind of realizing that himself is the ideal of these people, and
Right.
that's really really interesting.
Yeah. So my one of my other theories that I came up with while reading that I so it's not that I'll be disappointed if I'm wrong, but I just it seemed very perfect when it occurred to me is like, okay, so there's, Ares is the, terrorist leader who is responsible for orchestrating the underground, the resistance,
Yeah.
and is responsible for picking Darrow out of the underground and bringing him to the surface and turning him into a gold. And like once this occurred to me, it just was too perfect. I was like, obviously Ares is a gold.
Yeah.
Obviously Ares is part of this system, and they know that they need new blood. They need to be really meritocratic. They need to pick the strongest people from wherever they are in the society, and the more hardship the better, because really the original lunar colonists who destroyed the humans were more like the Reds who live under Mars than they are like the Golds who are soft like the Earthlings were. So I was just like, yeah, it's too perfect. It's too perfect not to be true that Ares is a gold and Ares knows exactly who he is, and like that's going to be a thing that is part of this moving forward. Again, I have
Yeah.
no idea if this is true. It just felt right to me.
Yeah, John says Ares is Fitchner as his guess. That'd be fun. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if I think you're right. I don't know who specifically, but I think you're right. I mean, there's a lot of talk in the book about like when they're, I think at the introduction of the university or whatever, there's a lot of talk about the Reds and how the Reds are actually like hard and strong, and we've gone soft, and so I think you're right. It just kind of fits in line with the society, and of course we see the other Red here, right, with Titus. That's his name, right?
Yes, I think so.
Poor guy.
Right. I felt at the time I was like, is Darrow kind of jumping to conclusions here? But I think we are just meant to believe that he was indeed another red agent,
Yeah,
which hints
he
that there
said
are like
bloody
way more
damn,
of
man.
these. He said bloody damn, which is also the tell, which is also the tell that Darrow gave. Um, and then his friend covered for him, meaning his friend also knows more. So like yeah,
Yeah,
there's all
the message was garbled, so I went ahead and just deleted the audio from this. And it's like, oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool threads. Yeah, like I was gonna wait for the end of the episode to do this, but like I'm gonna read the next two books in this series because
Yeah.
I'm really into wanting to see where this goes. And people are saying in chat that they only get better. That this is really the only one that is very YA, to the point where I wonder if like Pierce Brown just like knew the game he has to play and is like, I have to write the book this way for to get this audience, and then once I've done that, I get to write what I want after this. And that's exciting to me. Not that I'm against like YA fiction, obviously not. I enjoyed this book quite a bit, but that's just exciting to me in general. And so I'm definitely going to check out the next two books in the series. I like those, all those threads are great, and I love the way the way to go back to Darrow, like the way in which, as you said, his arrogance, his pride, his anger, like get in the way of himself. Like I love the choice that like the Jackal gets Cassius this hollow, and if Darrow hadn't told his guy to go steal it, then he never would have looked at it. But of course, he's so paranoid and so like convinced that he has to constantly protect himself in these manners and not trust that, of course, that blows up in his face. Man, that whole relationship, like, that was great, and the way it ended was a little heartbreaking. Like, I you don't expect it to end any other way than Cassius is like not gonna just be his friend and be like, no, I've been thinking about it, and actually I forgive you for murdering my brother. It's just like, it was really sad.
Yeah, you really wanted them to find some kind of resolution that was positive, and you know we leave it off where maybe it'll evolve further in the subsequent books. That's a big hook for me, honestly. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I want to read the next books. Is I'm like, well, his relationship with Cassius, his relationship with Mustang, I keep forgetting the name of the wolf kid, but he
Yeah.
was
Why
also a
can't
great
I remember
character.
his name? Yeah.
But I legitimately want to see where these threads go. I think they're great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Kind of related to this, just at a pure structure plot level, I was really impressed at how uh, how well he keeps up the pace while continually putting us on this roller coaster of ups and downs.
Yeah.
Like it's been a million years since I read The Hunger Games, so maybe it's sort of unfair for me to compare this book against a book I don't remember that well. But like I remember there were stretches in The Hunger Games where I just kind of felt like the plot had become a little rudderless, and I was just like, okay, yeah, we're kind of doing the same thing. I feel a little lost, and I think I feel like that. I feel this a lot in YA, sort of like, oh, there's a tournament or there's a contest of some kind. I think I would say the same thing about Battle Royale that we read recently, where it becomes rudderless, it becomes repetitive. You lose a sense of stakes, and you're like, okay, let's get on with it. And I never felt that in this. I was actually genuinely happy when he like was stabbed and lost his army, because I was like, oh, good. That means he's going to have to build it all back up from scratch. And I'm so excited to see how he figures out how to do that, because he's in such a terrible position right now. And I had trust by that point that however he did it, it was going to feel earned and authentic. Um, which also is kind of rare, right? Like very often in a story like this, you feel like the hero is being handed things, like they just get to win because they're the protagonist. And I never really felt that in this book. I really like that aspect of it.
I don't think I did either. I think I will say I have a very distinct memory of when he's flying up to Mount Olympus to like send his armies against the proctors themselves. I remember very distinctly being like, how the fuck is he gonna get out of this one? This is like it seems like perhaps he's gone a bit too far.
Yeah. I honestly, I think the feeling of how the fuck is he going to get out of this one is like a feeling that I crave from
Yeah.
books,
Yeah.
especially when they do get out of it in a way that feels earned and organic and set
Yeah.
up. Um,
It ultimately felt
yeah,
fair to me that it was played correctly, and it plays into, like, I mean, the thing it works, it plays into what the society holds itself up to be, not what the society is, right? It's just like,
mhm,
I mean, it's a ridiculous idea, this whole thing. Like, first they kill half of the students, and then
right.
they send the rest of them to this thing in which, yeah, like, you're not gonna die, like, that the whole thing is like no killing, Now, like, it'll happen sometimes, but like no killing, and then like so many kids die, like
Yeah.
so many of them die, and
Right.
it's just like you're just like, Jesus Christ, this is nuts, this is insane. And so it builds to a world where like, okay, well, if one of these kids ends up like killing one of the proctors, like that's just feeding into this society's understanding of like how we prove who's the best and who's the most badass and etc etc.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I think at that point, yes, there was a feeling of how is he going to get out of this, but I was also like, well, he has proven that he understands their society better than they do,
Yeah, yeah,
which goes along with this thesis of him being a like the perfect gold actually,
yeah.
and he is if anything putting them back on track, and that's why he becomes the winner of the whole thing is because he 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 didn't play by the rules that they set. He played by the rules of like by their society's aspirational rules, which are basically just like what can you get away with um, through strength and cunning uh,
Yeah.
and leadership, basically.
Christy
It's
says
great.
Nightmare Hogwarts. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So question for you. So at the end of the book, he allies himself with his greatest enemy, the governor or whatever, because it is the most beneficial to what he's trying to do. In that conversation, they have a whole conversation about like, hey, I won my year too. Like, you think these friendships and these bonds that you forge during the school are gonna last for a long time, but you're wrong. That this is like you're a god here, but the second you step off of here, like you're nothing. Um, and like Darrow is like, no, I don't think that's true because I did it differently. I've done this in a way that none of you ever done this. I've unlocked this, and there's part of me that was like, yeah, maybe that's true, but there's also part of me that's like, I think he's being a little arrogant here. And like I think that's one of the exciting points about getting into the next books of like he thinks he's got this stuff figured out. But this was school, right? It was Nightmare Hogwarts, as Christy said, but this was just school. He's about to graduate and go into the real world, and I don't know how ready he is for what that actually looks like.
Right. Because we know that, in their society, they kill each other in duels all the time. So
Yeah,
um, it's not like it's going to be easier. Um, and there's going to be a lot more sort of entrenched power. Like that was one thing I was thinking about that because I was like, one truth about this battle school scenario is basically every kid is put in there with no resources, with the exception of the one kid who they're corruptly supporting.
yeah,
Other than him, everybody is kind of on a level playing field. There's no real favoritism. There's no real being born with a silver spoon in your mouth, and so it is something like an egalitarian meritocracy, and then everyone just kills each other until the strongest rise up. But
mm-hmm.
out in the real world, there are like, century old power structures and like, great houses with tons of resources that you can't just like be really smart and persuasive and clever and defeat. Like they just have more resources than you.
Yeah,
So it's like he's going to have to become way more politically savvy and good at like politics and coalition build. I mean, that's the thing that he's good at actually already. That's one of his strengths. That's how he was able to win. But I don't know. I mean, I agree with you that it was something I thought about, and I was like, I don't know. Like, are we meant to think, man, you have no idea what you're getting into, or are we meant to think like, no, he's right. He's the only one who understands this society.
yeah.
Um, I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to highlight something Aqua just said in chat, that the variation amongst the golds is really interesting, and I agree with what you're saying here, Aqua, that like when you have this kind of caste system in a book like this, it kind of the castes just become like basically one thing, right? It's like the personality type of X is Y, and that's it, right? So the reds are like this, the pinks are like this, the blues like, and the book sets that up that way. But then we actually dive into the golds and we see they're incredibly complicated. Like they're not all like super tall, super muscular people. There's castes amongst the cast,
Mhm.
and different goals and variations, and like, and yeah, I mean, like the book wants you to hate these people because you've seen what they're doing to Darrow and his people, and you do, but they're also, a lot of them are just like people. They're
Yeah.
just like, and that's one thing that Darrow is coming to struggle with as well. And like, I love the moment where he kills Cassius's brother Julian, and it's like destroys him. And it's
Hmm.
like, this is like your enemy, right? Like you can see a different version of this book where he's like, he just justifies it as like, this is the first death on my long path where I'm gonna kill all these people because I hate them. I hate them all. They took my wife from me. I hate all these people. And that's never who he is ever. That the guilt of that death eats at him, and the
Yeah.
guilt of all the deaths he's done eats at him.
Yeah. Exactly. I agree with that. I agree with your point about, or you and Aqua's point about I mean, the characters all feel like characters. Like, I think that's one fun thing we got out of this Greek gods theme, or sorry, Roman gods theme, is the fact that, like, yes, they're all golds, but then they're all sorted into their own houses based on a god.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of fun with that too, where, like, Mustang is put into House Minerva, which is like, okay, so their construal of the gold ethos is about, like, ruling wisely and with grace and negotiating where necessary, and using cunning and strategy more so than brute force. And they're like the civilized ones. And it's, by the end of the book, it's like, well, it's totally unsurprising that you guys are going to lose to the actual cannibal team, because you just don't have what it takes. You don't have the hardness. But the point is that there are golds like Mustang who, they're just like kids who are being raised in this society, and they don't have any
Yeah.
say in how they're going to be raised. And her brother died, and her other brother is a psychopath, and her dad is an asshole, and she still manages to be, you know, pretty good, right? So
Yeah.
I agree. I like that a lot. All the characters just feel like characters. They don't feel like we're doing this, like, bashing you over the head with the caste system idea.
Yeah, and it's like, once again, there's so many threads there for some amazing stuff because, yeah, with Mustang, she's like the one the one good gold, or not, that's not the one, but she's one of them. And now her and Darrow are going to be remain close to each other, and there's a lot of opportunity there for like his overthrow of this system. How will that affect her? Like, obviously, like, anything like this, people are going to find out he's a red eventually, right? That's just what has to happen. Who's going to find out first? Is it her?
Hmm.
Like, it's like, I'm so into all this stuff.
Hmm. Me too.
um
Pax was great.
Pax was great. All the side characters are really great. I liked them all. Severo was the name of the short guy we couldn't
Yeah,
remember the name of.
right. I think this is, I mean, basically just hitting the same point again. But, like, you've got Pax and Severo and Mustang. These are people who he genuinely becomes real friends with. They're like actually, like, honorable, kind, caring people. And it breaks his heart when Pax dies. And it's like, yeah, that, you can imagine beginning of the book, Darrow, sobbing over the corpse of a gold.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course not. That could never happen. But he's human. I think, he's a young man. He doesn't really have the self-awareness to realize that, like, you're going to fall in love with these people if you spend all of your time around them. There's no way around it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, this is just going to be a disaster. Like, it's just like, I'm so excited to see exactly the ways it's going to be a disaster, but like, thinking of like how he is going to actually get into a position of power and then is able to work his magic to destroy this, like, it's just, I'm like, oh my god, Darrow, you're so fucked. And like, to your point, I think if Ares is a gold, and like, is the goal of this just to improve the golds, or is the goal of this to actually tear this whole thing down? Like, it's just, there's so much here. There's so much here to this idea. Like, I was shocked by how much coming out of this book. I was like, oh, I could see where the thousand different places this can go from here,
Mhm.
and I wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine Ares being someone who just ruthlessly believes in the idea of meritocracy and is basically like, we're just going to find the best people and let them do what they're going to do. And if they
Yeah.
want to perpetuate this system, then that's great. And if they want to tear this system down, well, they're the winners of the meritocracy game. So whatever they want to do, they get to do.
Yeah.
Um, if they want to make it not be a meritocracy anymore, they're allowed to do that too, right?
Yeah.
That's to me what it looks like to be a purist in that axis. Again, I like that it took these ideas seriously and sort of thought them through further than I, further than I have, I guess. Like, because
Mhm.
when you're reading a book, sometimes you feel like, oh, I see what they're doing, and then it just is that. Like, you just immediately understood what they were going for, and now the book doesn't really contain any more surprises for you. But this book leaves me with the feeling that it this book itself surprised me many times, and I feel like the subsequent books will probably continue to surprise me because he has actually thought about the underlying ideas here. He's not just trying to entertain, although he's doing a great job at
Yeah.
entertaining.
To what end do you think though? Like what I mean, maybe this is something we just cannot even guess until the end of this trilogy, but like what ultimately do you think these books are trying to say about anything?
I mean, definitely like a huge central theme is the idea of what is the nature of a meritocratic society? Like, what does that even mean, actually? Like, we
Mhm.
throw that word around in political contexts in our world all the time. We say that an institution should be more meritocratic, or
Mhm.
you know, that's bad because it's not meritocratic or whatever, or maybe like that's good because if it were fully meritocratic, then it would be just profoundly unequal, and we need to mitigate that. And it's like, well, this is a society where the guiding premise of the society is like strength and cunning. Like I said, like you like, can you win? If you can win, then you deserve to win.
Yeah.
Um, and uh, that that is their ethos. That's not just what ends up happening. That is their avowed, you know, philosophy
And
of this whole society.
that includes cheating, right? Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
cheating is acceptable if it allows you to win.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So like that that is an idea that I don't know that I've seen sort of explored in this way, in this depth, you know. Um, there's plenty of other themes, obviously, like the way that a person changes in a system. I
Yeah.
think just kind of going full circle to the one of the first things that we were talking about in this conversation is like Darrow is going to become more and more of an actual gold in his in his way of thinking. Kind of reminds me of like Player of Games, which
Mm.
is a book we talked about a long time ago, which is one of my favorite books we ever talked about, really, where the character he spends all this time on that planet learning to play the game with these aliens, and he you know the more time he spends with them, the more he starts thinking like them, and uh, because it's unavoidable. It's just
Yeah.
unavoidable. That's just like that's the kind of creature that we are. Um, and what does that mean? I
Yeah.
don't know. What do you think beyond that?
No, I mean I really like the idea of like if we're talking about the idea of like revolution and destroying of systems, there's a lot of differing opinions on like the correct way to do that, and a lot of people like like you hear politicians on the left or whatever that like this system is good, and the best way to fix the system, or the best way to fix the problems, is through the system, right? Is that like this firm belief that like we can fix things through the system that we have, that like this is wrong, this is unfair, this is broken, and we can fix it. And then there's some people who say no, we have to tear it all down and destroy it and then build something new. And it's interesting that this book so far is like their goal is to basically tear it all down, but the decision factor is like the only way to do that is by becoming part of it first.
Yeah.
And I think that has a chance to really comment on like what does it mean to try to fix something from within or
Right.
destroy something from within.
I think you're totally right. I was thinking about this where just imagine what it would look like for Darrow to succeed.
Yeah.
Aren't there like billions of red Martians?
Yeah.
Like billions?
Yeah.
So like you're just gonna like what, grant them all their freedom in like a stroke and just be like, here's a gun, go shoot people,
Yeah.
go shoot all the golds. Like is the solution just genocide of all the golds? Well, that's not very that's not not only is that not a very good idea, but I don't even think that would work. I think that would just result in like enormous amounts of death and then possibly not even actually breaking the status quo. So it's like, okay, so we've already compromised just here in this, assuming you agree with me, like we're going to have to do it from within the system where the red Martians like their suffering needs to be alleviated, but not necessarily to the full extent of giving them the ability to get revenge for what was done to them, because then that would be, you know, that would just ruin that would just kill everyone. You know,
Yeah.
This is like literally the, you know, national conversation in our country for the last 2 centuries is
Yeah.
like, it's like, well, you know, if if we had justice for what happened, then actually that would just be intolerably violent. So
Yeah.
we're not going to do that. We're going to do it in this other way. That's kind of a compromise path that kind of nobody involved is actually happy with.
Yeah, I mean, like you build, especially a system like this where the caste system is so formalized and institutionalized and been the way things work for hundreds of years, right? Hundreds of years. It's like how do you tear this down and rebuild and in a way that doesn't result in just like you said, billions of death, like just like like the Darrow represents like an anger that the Reds have and would have at learning the truth of their situation, right? And Darrow's like anger is something he needs to get a clamp on several times, and you can just
Mm.
imagine that like you reveal the truth to these people and show them, hey, you outnumber these other people, you've been lied to, as you said, here's a gun, go take back your freedom.
Hmm.
And like, yeah, that's French Revolution stuff, right? That's just like we're just
Yeah.
gonna kill all of them, and then we're gonna what do we do next? Like, I mean, the great thing about revolution is it's a unifying force of like, because everyone can agree that the person in power should not be in power anymore. That's where we can all come together and agree on that. The second we take that person out of power, everyone stops agreeing, because then the question is, okay, well, who should be in power now? How should we do this now?
Right.
What do we do now? And it's like, I don't know if that's going to be something the story even gets into, but it's definitely there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's definitely been put in place. Like Darrow getting enough power to actually have to struggle with these questions is something that I expect, unless the story just ends up going in like really different directions than I anticipate, which is possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always possible that he just surprises us and this just goes off in some other direction. A couple of comments in the chat that I want to hit on. John reminds us that the audiobook narrator is fantastic. He's Irish, and he does, first of all, just every audiobook I think should be narrated in an Irish accent. I just think that's just a rule that we should all just moving forward.
Irish is
But
quickly just becoming my favorite accent. My phone speaks to me in an Irish accent.
that's great.
Yeah,
I should set that. And he does do like a pompous British accent for the golds, which is great.
that's perfect actually.
Yeah, he's very good audiobook. I really liked it. And also, uh, Bent Westward reminds us that we haven't talked about the Jackal, who was a fantastic villain. Actually, like I think part of what made him a great villain is that we didn't see him for 90% of the book. He was just this like horror monster in the background whose like reputation was just like he's not human. He's just he's totally heartless and he's just a killer. And you have no idea what you're getting into, Darrow. He's just gonna cut your heart out. And you're just like, oh my God, Darrow, I'm so scared. Darrow, how are you gonna deal with this guy? I'm so scared. The book really put me in this position of like worrying about the jackal.
Did you guess that
And
that kid was the jackal before it happened?
I mean, maybe like in the scene where he's talking to him, but not like prior to that point.
The
That,
book like really lays it on thick in that scene of like we're supposed to suspect something's going on and
right.
everyone's being weird, and it's like, and Pax knew to play his part, and I was like, wait, what do you mean his part? What are you talking about? I love that whole sequence because we get this like Darrow plays it perfectly and he wins, and then he slammed down a knife in this guy's hand, and then he's like, guess you're just gonna have to saw your arm off, and he says that with utmost confidence that he would never do that. And what does the jackal do? He starts sawing his own arm off.
Yeah.
And Darrow's like, oh fuck.
Oh no.
What do I do? I just lost my advantage. I told him he could leave.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh dang it. And then
These are really great things to enforce. I think what we were talking about earlier, which is that Darrow is very good. He's smart. He's capable. He's resourceful, but he's not perfect. He makes mistakes and he doesn't understand things. And talking again about his conversation with the governor or whatever at the end of the book of like, you don't understand. You think you understand how this thing works. I won my game too. Things change. We go into the real world. And Darrow like confidently says, nah. And you think back at the times during the games where he was just confidently wrong. He was confidently wrong about the jackal. I loved when he was confidently wrong about Mustang too, right? He sends Mustang off to get the jackal and then learns after the fact that it's her brother. And he just decides, oh, I've just sent my enemy this army. She's going to betray me. She's absolutely 100% going to betray me. And he just assumes that, and like, I don't know, this was one of the things that I guessed. I was like, I don't think she's going to betray you, man. Actually, I don't think that's what's going to happen. And I was wondering if we were going to do some heartbreaking thing where he just assumes she is, and then she wasn't, but he makes some terrible mistake with that assumption. We didn't end up doing that, but like, these are the moments in which Darrow is just confidently wrong, I think, are some of the most interesting in the book for me, and really again drive me to see what happens next with him. What other sticky situations is he going to get himself into, and in his confidence.
Yeah. I thought that was a great way to end it. And another small note that made me really want to kind of see what happens next is he literally storms Olympus to save Mustang because he loves her. And then she recognizes like, wow, this guy is awesome and he loves me. And then when she leaves and then she like is coming back to bring him her brother, in chains, and sees like, oh, he thinks I betrayed him. So while he may love me, he doesn't trust me.
Yeah.
After all the shit we've been through, he still doesn't trust me. And like, she's still basically, if she feels any of that, she doesn't show it because she just kind of plays her role as I think she's playing politics at that point. But I do wonder if there was some like level of heartbreak happening that we're going to find out in the next book where it's like, what the fuck, man? Why would I betray you? Like I nursed you back to health in a cave.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like, I agree. That was it was like a really good, piece of character psychology where you totally see why he's making that decision because of who he is and how he feels about these people. But you're just like, I don't know. Everything we've seen from Mustang says that she kind of is just how she appears to be. She's had plenty of opportunities to betray you before.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And how that's going to play in the future, I think is another just really interesting element there of like, is he going to trust her? Is he ever going to be able to trust her fully? Is there a distance between them now? Because she, as you said, she sees that he didn't trust her. What happens when she finds out what he really is? Like, man, it's just delicious drama. That's like it's really great. I think someone said they're possibly going to make this a television show adaptation, and I think it's perfect for that. It's very good.
Yeah,
Just design wise, like the ups and downs, the twists and turns, the character stuff. Like it's just I think a TV show would be perfect for this.
me too. I can't wait for them to make all kinds of pointless changes to the plot.
Well, Matt, sometimes you got to make some adaptation choices.
I know. Believe me, I know. I'm just like I've been hurt too many times. Um,
I'm
yeah,
not
no, I mean, I think it could look really cool though. Like it could be really visually kind of awesome.
sure.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, one thing they're going to have to change, unfortunately, is they're going to have to make it so that the gravity is not, zero point 0.2 Gs or whatever. This was the thing that kept tripping me up, right? Because like you're visualizing fights, and when they're fighting, you're reminded, oh, they're basically they're doing super jumps every time they jump, and they can all run incredibly fast. And but then like when they're walking around having food together or whatever, my brain stopped rendering that as being a low gravity situation.
Yeah.
Um,
My
but
brain was unable to hold that in my head until there was a moment in which the book reminds you of something where they're like, "Oh yeah, I can run 10 kilometers in a minute," or
right,
"Yeah, I jumped 50 feet in the air," or something. Like I couldn't hold
yeah,
on to that fact until, except for when the text itself was specifically reminding me of it.
exactly. I was basically the same. So I suspect if they if they make an adaptation, they just won't even bother with that. It'll just be you know whatever. They'll have grav boosts or whatever, but I don't think it'll be low gravity.
Yeah, I think so too.
Um, John is asking, what do I think about it being a Dune future where there aren't computers? Um,
Are there not computers in this?
I yeah, if I mean, I think maybe sort of like in an operative sense, we don't see any AIs. So there may be, they may use computers, but they don't use them like AIs. Did they mention? Remind me. Did they mention explicitly like we don't use AI because AIs are not trustworthy or something like that?
I
I
don't
vaguely
remember.
remember. Yeah, I think it might have just been one of these stories where it's like we've decided to go the space opera route, not the hard sci-fi route, and so we're just not going to have AI be a thing because if you let AI be a thing, then it grows to consume the entire story most of the time.
Yeah, it's fair. I do not remember though. I'll let people in the chat remind us of this fact or not.
Yeah. I the one funny tell me if I'm like reading this right because it was like Darrow's body was enhanced in all of these ways
Mm-hmm.
to make him super strong and everything. But like one thing that they didn't change is like his hands and his grip strength. He just has like red grip strength, which is like crushingly strong. So he has this like incredible red grip strength, and then everything else about him is gold. And so that's kind of like one of the ways in which he's like the perfect gold. Is he's
Yeah.
like they made him a gold, but then he's bringing with him the strengths of the lower classes. Actually, like I felt like that was a fun kind of metaphor for that.
Yeah, it's strength and dexterity too, right? He's like
Hmm.
very dexterous with his hands as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't understand if like they have the ability to like splice people into godlike super tall versions of them, like why there's a short person. Like right?
Right. Well,
Is it just like
honestly,
an economics thing?
I think that's another one of these things that I hope we get into more in the series because like not only like yes, why is there a short gold when they could just splice themselves, but like why are there even castes at all when you could just have a person be like I'm gonna if a pink makes a lot of money and they just splice themselves to be physically and mentally indistinguishable from a gold, then aren't they just a gold?
I don't
Like
know.
according to the rules of this society, the answer is no, but I don't know why. Like other than like prejudice, I guess. It's just it is kind of an interesting. I mean, I guess every society is full of its own hypocrisies and contradictions, so maybe that's just kind of what we're doing.
Sure.
But I do kind of want to see it get explored.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fun avenue to really dive into. I mean, we see a little bit of some of the other casts, but not like a huge amount, right? I would like to see more of what life is like if you're like a green.
What are all the casts? I don't even remember.
I don't know, man. I
I'm,
they told us, and then I like looked it up on Wikipedia again to refresh my memory. But there's reds. They got the reds. You know those.
Reds.
Um, they got the golds and the pinks. People love calling each other pinks.
They did. That was you gory pink. Um, I think the one just one moment of trope awareness at the beginning where he's describing his wife and how much he loves her, and I'm just like, oh, she's dead.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I wonder how much she knew. Oh, she was totally pregnant, by the way, right?
I mean, what? Why did we say that?
Like because she says something to her sister, and her sister is like, oh, no, but then they never tell Darrow.
I mean, I guess that's possible, but like, why would that be the last thing you tell your sister? Is like, by the way, it's not just me dying.
So someone would know, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I feel like if I was gonna die and nobody knew except me, I might tell somebody. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it seemed obvious to me that that was the secret, but that's simply because I couldn't think of a
I mean, I don't know what else she
better
could
answer.
possibly be telling her, but I didn't think much about it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it, Matt. It's right here. There's reds. They're the manual laborers. There's the pinks. There's the obsidians. They're elite soldiers and bodyguards. The browns are servants, cooks, and janitors. The grays are regular soldiers. The oranges are mechanics and engineers. The violets are artisans and other creatives. Greens are programmers and technicians. Yellows are doctors and researchers. Blues are bridge crew of starship and pilots. Coppers, administrators, lawyers, and bureaucrats. Whites are clergy and judges being in the same cast. It's
Hmm.
pretty interesting. Silvers are
Cool.
financiers and businessmen. There you go. There's all of them.
And the golds are just literally the aristocrats who own everything, I
Yeah,
guess.
this says rulers of the society.
I mean, that in and of itself is interesting because it's like you can be a silver and a financier. It's like, well, then you're going to be pretty powerful. Like a financier can make more money than anybody else, but then class and wealth are different things, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I really can't get over the fact that a priest and a judge is in the same cast. That seems that's an interesting. I mean, like it lines up with past societies that right that like that, I mean that makes sense in like an older society.
Yeah, they're trying to be like the Romans.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
isn't it so it's like so like you fucking losers to be obsessed with the Romans this way. It like it fits so well that like
yeah,
this is I don't know hundreds of years into the future and they're still like getting all like excited and aroused by Roman shit. It's like come on.
yeah,
Come on.
yeah. I mean, they clearly like. I do wonder, how much like actual research into like Roman society there was because I don't. I mean, I felt often in this story like this is kind of like the story of Caesar, where like Caesar is this Roman, the story of Caesar basically, or the myth of Caesar probably
Mm-hmm.
is more accurate, is
Sure.
like a guy who just had this incredible confidence in himself and would just always kind of go for broke and had this amazing charisma where he could get men to follow him. And so he would go on these amazing campaigns of conquest. And then, the senators didn't like what he was doing. So he just came back and took over the country. And like basically couldn't fail. He was one of these characters. He was Darrow, and I kind of felt while reading the book, like, are we intentionally taking notes from like literally Julius Caesar's life? Not that it was that close to Julius Caesar, but I just kept feeling that. It was probably a lot of the Roman the mentions of Roman stuff, it was making me think that too, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
mean, I think you're onto something there. But that's not good.
Yeah,
Doesn't go well for our boy Caesar.
exactly.
At least he got a salad named after him.
Yeah,
Have a Darrow
yeah,
salad.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
the whole return movement. I luckily have not heard of that. Have you heard of that?
I think it's just sort of a like the idea that everything should be like it was in the past, and with Latin letters because it's cooler that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You ever seen the meme of like a man thinks about the Roman Empire at least once a day?
yeah.
It's true though.
I think it's true.
I remember I heard about this and I like had my sister ask my dad. It's like, Dad, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? And he's like, oh, probably like every day.
I think it's true. I mean, there was a period of time when I was in high school taking Latin class and obsessed with Gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
So during that period of time, I was thinking about it almost constantly.
Yeah.
Um,
I read a lot of books on the Punic Wars for whatever reason. I had like a 6 month period where I just got really obsessed with the Punic Wars, and I just read like 8 different books about them. Um, it was fascinating. Rome is pretty
yeah,
fascinating, but I would never
Rome
like
is
create a whole society based off of
yeah,
Rome,
it's the greatest society ever because
except for that part where it fell.
except for the lead poisoning.
Oops, they didn't know, Matt. They didn't know.
I mean, I feel like we've probably had a similar conversation to this before, but like the concept of Rome is just very romantic. I didn't even do that
Ha!
on purpose. That was generally not an intentional pun. Um, I but like the idea, like there's a reason there's so much fantasy that has this idea of like there was an ancient civilization that had high magics, but it is lost now, and we live in its shadow. It's like because
Mm-hmm.
that's just a really cool idea,
Mm-hmm.
and that's literally what Rome was. It was the high civilization that built all these amazing things, and now we don't know how to build them anymore. And they were clearly so much more refined and cultured than we are in the Dark Ages. And for hundreds and hundreds of years, people looked back on the Roman Empire as like, wow, that was the peak of civilization. It's only in the last like 3 centuries or whatever that we were like, actually, no, we have we have reclaimed peak of civilization status. We're good now.
Well, and
Um,
I mean, we've talked about this before many times, but like the narrative and the story of Rome growing up is that it was like this, as you said, magical, wonderful peak of civilization, and then it fell, and the entire world just crashed without Rome. Like the entire concept of the Dark Ages was just like, without Rome, we just descended into chaos and regressed terribly, and it was only hundreds of years later that we built ourselves back up. And um, as we've learned more about the Dark Ages, we've learned that that's not exactly how it all went
right.
down.
Yeah, yeah. I think that in terms of like the ability to construct really cool buildings, though, it was a setback.
Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah.
um, I've always wondered if they did like painting in Rome, because if they did, we don't have any of the paintings because that was 2,000 years ago. But
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure they
I
did.
bet
How
they
could they
did
not?
because they had those amazing mosaics.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, they must have had amazing paintings that we just don't have, and they just don't exist anymore. This is a complete tangent. I was just thinking about this the other day.
You know, the weirdest realization is like that all the statues and stuff we see had paint on them,
Right.
and it's like they didn't just like chisel a marble statue and just like leave it as marble. We have Roman
Um,
paintings? No way.
uh, John, I'm gonna have to ask you to send me some information about the Roman paintings.
John sent
I
a
mean, I know,
copy of the Roman paintings.
yeah, I want a Roman painting. Okay, just Googled Roman paintings and I got a bunch of images. So
Well, are they images of people painting people in Rome or
I don't know. I want to see
actual?
what is the oldest painting.
That is a good question.
and it's totally relevant to this conversation about
We're talking
Red
about Rome,
Rising.
man. So
We are, we are,
we've
we are.
left the book behind, and we're just on our daily Rome kick now.
Okay, I think I deserve that because I just typed in oldest painting and it showed me some like tens of thousands of years old cave paintings,
Well,
which is not
okay,
exactly what I meant,
that's
but
not. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, it is a really old painting, so
On like canvas, right? That's what you meant.
yeah, right. Or even wood, you know.
Sure.
Well, anyway,
See, all I'm finding is like Roman mythology paintings, which are just like paintings hundreds of years later depicting Rome. But I believe you. I just didn't see anything.
yeah, please send Rome paintings
It makes
to
sense.
me.
What he's saying is they're mostly found in Egypt. Um,
Oh yeah,
so yeah, there would be a lot if you store it in certain ways.
that's fair.
That's really cool though. I didn't know we could do that.
Okay, cool. There apparently there were some preserved in Pompeii and Herculaneum because they were preserved by the eruption.
Well, there we go. It
Yeah,
was a good thing then.
there's literally a picture of a painting that was preserved in Pompeii. There's a penis in it, so I'm not going to put it in the YouTube chat, but I will put it in the Discord chat.
Wouldn't it be so funny if we're like holding up Rome as this like beacon of civilization and like, oh my god, they were so good at everything, technology, they built these beautiful buildings, they chiseled these beautiful sculptures, but then like for some reason they were just like really bad at painting, and we like finally found some Roman paintings. And
They
they're just like
just,
terrible.
there's awful, yeah. They had these amazing sculptures, but the paintings were awful. Yeah, that'd be great.
Maybe we didn't find any Roman paintings.
Oh my God. Well,
Um, I have. Have you ever read the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire? I have a nice, beautiful leather-bound version of that book from 17 whatever, sitting on my bookshelf, and I have never opened it up. I keep
I
telling
have not.
myself I will one day.
I have not. I don't want to read about the decline and fall. I want to read about how awesome it was forever.
You read it all, John? It's huge. It's also apparently like super racist because it was written by a man in the 1700s.
Well, of course.
Yeah. Um, but I'm gonna read it one day. I will. John, you've inspired me.
So, in conclusion, we should base our society off of that of ancient Rome.
I feel like that's what we've learned here tonight,
Yeah.
if anything. So I guess one final question that we'll ask to the audience here. God, that's a lot of pages. Jesus. The fact that it only took you 2 years to read 11,000 pages is actually pretty impressive. Are you folks that just read this book series for the first time, that read the first book for the first time? I think Matt and I both said we're very interested in diving into at least the second and third book. I had understood from some chat I saw as we were talking, there is a second trilogy that he wrote after the first trilogy. So are you guys going to go check out the later books? Because I feel like on this show we do a lot of shows on the first book of a series, and we used to in the old days like come back to the series and do the second and third books. We've kind of stopped that just because it's inherently limiting, but I'm not saying we're going to do ones on these episodes, but I am just curious like how many people are going to keep going.
Aqua says they're going to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep going.
I'm going.
I agree with you.
I'm gonna
Crispy.
go. I'm gonna go in. So my general rule for book club is I get a Kindle version of the books because I have too many books on my bookshelf. Like I said, I have the entire Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire just sitting on my bookshelf, not doing anything. But this is one of those. This is one of those. I might get myself a physical copy books because I've enjoyed it so much.
Like tons of people in the chat are saying that they will or have started reading the next books. Christy,
That's great.
Asio, Bent Westward, Wes Carmen.
Halfway
Yeah,
through
awesome.
book two. Aqua, you're tearing through that thing.
It was honestly hard for I had that thought where I was like, should I just start reading it before the book club? And then I was like, no, because then I'll have to like separate out what I know from the second book and
Yeah,
it'll
yeah,
make
yeah,
the
yeah.
conversation. But I thought about it. That's how compelled I was to keep reading.
But hold that thought, Matt, because you're also gonna have to read another book for next month, and if I predict this correctly, it's going to be a pretty long one. So I'm going to link the straw poll once again. If you have not already voted in the poll, you have right now to do so, because we're about to lock our poll for next month. You know what? It's 13 votes ahead. So I'm refreshing. No one thing is getting 13 votes.
Yeah, might actually be impossible.
Yeah. All right, so next month's book is going to be a book titled King Sorrow by Joe Hill. This is a brand new book that just came out by Mr. Joe Hill, who happens to be Stephen King's son. Maybe that's why the book did so well on our poll over on our Patreon. Not surprising. Matt, have you read any Joe Hill?
No. This will be a first. We will see what we think about Joe Hill.
Yeah. I read a couple things. I read Nosferatu and thought it was okay. I read some of the Lock and Key comics he wrote because I was watching that television show and kind of enjoying it. And so I said, I'm going to try to be a comic book reader again. And that didn't work. It never works. I keep trying to be a person that reads comics and then it doesn't work.
You should try Japanese comics. I hear they're good.
Yeah, I'll do that. And then I'll be like, oh man, these are pretty good. I wish they made a television show.
Some kind of adaptation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'd have to do it animated. There'd be really no other way to do it.
Just for budget reasons.
Yeah.
And you'd really enjoy that, I think.
I'm gonna throw up in my mouth. Is what's gonna happen. Yeah. So King Sorrow by Joe Hill. It is a 900-page book. It is not short. It is almost 1/11 of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. So I think we need to get started on that. So we're gonna meet up. It will be the 5th of December. 4 weeks from now, we'll be meeting to discuss this book. So I would get reading soon on this one. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go grab the book tomorrow and get started. I think this is gonna be interesting. I mean, obviously we have a lot of Stephen King fans in the chat and in the audience, and Matt and I also. We've not ever really discussed Joe Hill, so I'm excited to see what he does with this book and if we like it, and maybe after that we'll return to Red Rising. What's the next Red Rising book? What's it called? Gold Falling?
No, it's not Gold Falling. I don't have it up there anymore.
Someone in chat will say it.
It's
Golden Sun. I was close. I was pretty close.
Sun, yeah.
Is it Sun?
No.
I'm getting two different spellings of sun here.
It's S-O-N. S-O-N.
Okay.
Cool.
Did you know that S-O-N and S-U-N that's two totally different word origins, and
Did not?
It's weird.
Oh.
There's a whole thing about, I forget what it's called, but there's a whole thing about in cursive, it was sometimes hard when you have a lot of cursive words of a certain slant, it becomes hard to read it. So they would change some words. So S-O-N used to be S-U-N, talking about a child, like a son. But they changed it to make cursive easier to read. And then I don't remember the whole thing, but it's this whole weird, letters and words are so crazy.
I'm going to look this up and read about it.
Not
on the air.
It's really cool. It's fascinating. I forget what the term was, but it's cool. Everyone go look that up. And then also just spend, just a half hour just reading about the Roman Empire as well. That's our responsibility as a society. Society.
Yep. Return.
All right. That's going to do it for us this time, folks. That was a fun conversation. We got to talk about Rome again, which always makes me happy.
Me too.
And I'm excited for next week's book. I think I've been meaning to read this Joe Hill book since it came out. I say meaning to read. I think it came out 2 weeks ago. So it's pretty new, but we're excited to check it out. If you have if you want to reach out to us for any reason and chat with us, you can reach us at over on X at Doof Media, on Instagram at Doof Media, email doofmedia@gmail.com, or on the reddit.com/r/Doof Media.
That's right. And if you like what we do here at Doof Media and you want to see more of it, then head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Doof Media and consider donating to support our organization. At any available level, you'll get access to the ability to vote for the books that we talk about each month on this podcast, as well as a bunch of other exclusive features like bonus podcasts and access to the ability to vote on what movies we cover on the Doofcast. So go check it out.
Yeah, if you just kind of fell in here or haven't been paying attention to any of the other shows we do right now on Flanagan's Wake, our Mike Flanagan show, we're in the middle of The Haunting of Bly Manor. Matt, I watched episode 5 last night, and oh man, I can't wait to talk about that with you. We've already recorded episode 4. You guys haven't heard it yet, but we're on 5 now, and it's big. It's a big one. It's a big one.
All right. Awesome.
Matt, you gotta go watch it.
I do. I haven't watched it yet.
And then also on Doofcast, we are doing the best 25 in the 21st. Next week is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Love it. Everybody loves Spider-Man.
Yeah, everybody loves Spider-Man. And then on the Kingslingers feed, we are taking a look at Welcome to Derry, the HBO show. I am doing that with our friend Kim C. We are mixed on the show, much to the chagrin of a lot of people. But hopefully episode 3 is going to be perfect and great. We're going to have nothing but good things to say about it. Welcome to Derry is okay. There's some pretty dumb stuff in there, but there's some pretty fun stuff in there too. It's a mixed bag, in my opinion.
Sounds great.
Yeah. And Matt's going to watch it. I promise.
We'll see. Definitely. Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I hope you all have a great weekend. And we will see you in a month for King Sorrow. You think that's like a charged meaning? Because like when the son of Stephen King puts the word king in the title of his book, like he's doing something, right?
He is. And it's his own name too, right?
Yeah, but he hides that.
King Sorrow.
Because he doesn't want to be a Nepo baby.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're going to spend the whole time next month talking about this exact point. But we'll just have to see.
I hope so. Embrace the dumb. I agree, Aqua. I'm going to try. Okay, I'm going to try. I think I've gotten on the show's wavelength now, and I'm just going to relax and let it go.
That's the spirit.
Speaking of letting it go, I'm going to let all you guys go. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you next time.
Good night.